Welcome to Tomorrow Makers, where we explore how we learn, live, work, and play now and in the future. I'm Summer Beatty.
And I'm Carlos Ramos. Summer, it's been summer.
We're back. We're so happy to be back with everyone. Feels like it's been too long. We have an awesome season lined up too.
Now, we're actually recording this a little bit before, so there's a little cheating. We still have a little bit of our summer break coming up.
We didn't need to tell him that.
No, because I want to set up something here.
Oh, good.
So we talk about in this episode about all sorts of things. Our guest today is Nate Woods, Dr. Nate Woods Jr., our special assistant to the president for transformation. No.
He is, well, I think it's okay that you didn't know that, because when we interviewed him the first time, he didn't know his full title. So in his defense, he was fairly new. But anyway, he is the special assistant to the president for inclusion transformation.
One of the things we talk about, which hit a little close to home, was vacations. With the rest of summer coming, we have some vacations coming up. And so I think there's going to be something for us to be able to talk about in some future introductions. But what have you done so far this summer that has... It's really weird in my head to say summer and summer.
It is weird, right? Imagine just walking around in this world and people say summer all the time. I'm looking left and right.
What was the funnest thing you've done so far?
Oh, I think I hate to say the funnest thing is about to come, but I mean, it's been a great summer. I had a little getaway in the Adirondacks in June, so that was exciting. Did some hiking and paddleboarding and some biking. Finally got to ride my bike up to the top of Whiteface, so that's been a bucket list item. So it was very, very cool.
You rode it to the top?
Yeah.
Wow. Like access road or?
On the main road.
On the main road.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yeah, so take some money if you want to do that, because you can't just scoot by the entrance gate.
Even on a bike, you can't.
No.
I thought it was a car fee.
No.
Guess not.
If you tell them you don't have any money and you're really gung-ho to go to the top, they will let you go. But it was a little awkward. I felt bad.
Okay. And as I'm asking that, I'm like, gosh, I don't even know that, like, I've just been doing work, and like just little things.
Yeah.
And I guess the little things all add up. But I also have a couple days coming up, so maybe my answer will change for when we have our next introduction.
Okay.
So
we'll hold you to that.
So anyway, back to Nate. Aside from his role here at the college, he's really involved with the community. He's involved in his faith-based organizations. He's got a podcast he's working on with his sister, which sounds really exciting. I think he's got some great guests lined up, so he should be able to get some really good listeners. He's an author. He wrote the book Dots.
Developing Others Through Service.
Really important book, I think, that everyone should read. But I'm really excited, and I think you are, about he's got 2 books coming, but one of them he just started working on is actually going to lap the other book.
Yeah, so he started writing a book, I think near the time we met with him before and had him on the podcast. And then it sounded like he had this epiphany as he was working on that book, and then just kind of put that one aside, and then is creating this other book, writing this other book that sounds like we have couple months maybe to wait for that. But yeah, it sounds like it's going to be really cool.
This is a man I truly admire. He just has so much going on, and he is the nicest guy you will ever meet.
Yeah, I feel like he's so evolved in his thinking that I don't know how old he is, but I think he's probably younger than me. But I do think he's like just running circles around people, and he's got this high level of energy of trying to really make his mark. We talked a little bit about, life and death, and, we don't want to leave these stones unturned at the end of this life. And, you just want to squeeze as much as you can out of it. And I think he's truly living that.
We were talking about the podcast we listened to, and Peter Attia came up right at the top of our lists of what we're currently listening to. And I mentioned the episode that he did with Dax Shepard talking about Formula One, and they're talking about Senna because, Senna is Peter Attia is totally.
Oh, he's nuts about it. It's so funny.
But, they made the comment about how Senna lived so much in his, brief cut off life, way more than most people will live. And I think that's I see that from Nate. Nate is living life.
Oh, he is.
And I think that for me, that was the lesson today is like, how can I make sure I'm getting how can I make sure I'm putting in as much of myself into life? It's not getting it out, it's putting it in.
I think he's efficient too, because he never seems tired. He was here and he was like, I wake up at 5:30, I get my workout in. What did he call it? A bonus hour or his investment hour. So we were talking about publishing this book. When's it going to be ready? And he says, well, I may need to reallocate my investment hour from working out to writing the book. So I do think he divvies up his day. He slices and dices and makes sure. And he's got a family, and I think he gives to all elements of life.
I'm thinking about the morning routine, and it's like, well, I've added this, I've added this, I've added this. To get my morning routine, and I got to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm still banging against, 7 o'clock.
And we need sleep. Speaking of Peter Attia, like the sleep is a huge piece for longevity. So we don't cut your sleep out.
So what about you? Anything that you really took from it today?
Oh, so many takeaways. I said it was like more questions than answers. I think the gratitude piece is really important. We talk about that and how we just need to take time to say thank you. And it's free. I mean, you talk about giving back. That's such an easy thing we can all do. So, yeah, I like that piece.
All right, let's get into it with Dr. Nate Woods.
So I connected with Flav when we were on this Virgin cruise, and we were cruising the Mediterranean Sea, my wife and I. And it was so funny. We're doing dinners and everything, and people are coming up saying, have you seen Flavor Flav? Have you seen him? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Have I seen Flavor Flav? We're on a ship. I'm not looking for Flav, right? They was like, nah, you need to go, like, he's on the ship. And everyone's like, nah, that's not real. And people are coming up, yeah, he really is. You just y'all don't stay up and party, so you would never see him. I said, well, I get that because that's not my life. We end up going to whenever we cruise, we always take like $100 and we'll go into the casino, never more than 100. And we go in, and I'm at the roulette table, and I'm just having a good time, nothing crazy. But then we leave, and my wife looks up and she was like, oh, Flavor Flav's at the blackjack table. I said, well, I'm going to go over there. So I take my little earnings and my winnings, and I go over there, and Flav, and I'm trying to be like chill about this. And I'm like, oh, that's Flavor Flav. Okay, this is cool. So I sit down, and he's on the opposite end, and he loses maybe $2,000 in 2 minutes. He reaches in his pocket, pulls out a stack of $1,000 chips so he can continue playing. And I was like, oh, scholarships. I'm processing this. And so I don't have, like, I'm playing $5 chips like the rest of the people. And I put some on, and I win 5 times what I bet. And he said, oh, that's a good look. That's a good hand. I looked up like this. I said, yeah, Flav. And then put my head back down.
Play it cool.
Everybody was rolling. I mean, laughing hysterically hard. It was just so funny, but it made an impression. So when we were in Ibiza, Spain, my wife and I was having breakfast at a restaurant, and he comes walking past. And when he walks past, he looks and says, yeah, Flav. And so it's just funny. And then I just stood up and said, hey, man, can I get a photo op? May I have a picture? And he said, sure. And I went to do the picture, like a selfie. He starts talking as if I'm recording. I said, wait a minute, that's love. Wait a minute. Boop, record. And he kept going. And it was just the coolest thing.
What did he talk about?
No, he just gave a plug for my podcast, Siblings Talk. But he was like, nah, this is love right here. Let the people know we out here. I said, what, Flav? He said, we're out here. I said, yo, we out here then. We out here. And I was like, I appreciate it. Thank you. So it was just really cool.
Just this past summer, like just
last week.
Last week. Okay.
Oh yeah, that was last week.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
I was going to ask where you went because when we initially tried to schedule this, you were like, oh, I'm going to be out of the country. So,
Yeah.
of course, I have lots of questions about travel.
Oh yeah, let's talk
Yeah.
about it. So my wife and I wanted to continue dating my wife and do certain things. And so we save very well. We budget, we strict budgeters. And we set up a trip with Virgin Cruise. And so it was amazing. Adults only, no kids. Let me say that again. Adults only, no kids. It was amazing. But we flew into Barcelona, Spain, and then we cruised from Spain, France, Toulon, France, and then we went to Italy. And so was able to see Pisa, Rome, the Vatican. It was amazing.
2 weeks? Is that about 10 days? How long
The
did
cruise was 7
Okay.
7 days, but we flew in 2 days early and we stayed an extra day. So it was about 10.
Nice.
Yeah.
Have you been?
Never
Okay.
been to those locations before, but we enjoyed it so much. We booked again next year already. So we're going to Greece. We'll check that out. I'll tell you about that next year.
Okay, good. Yeah, the cruise is a great way to explore. You don't have to figure all of that stuff out on your own and just drop you off in the good places.
That's it. I think it's a sample. So I call it cruising is like a sample platter.
Yeah.
You get to stop in and sample countries or places. And if you like it, you can go back. And then you can actually fly into them and stay there. If you don't, you don't have to worry about ever sampling that again.
So if you walk in to the blackjack table again,
Mm-hmm.
Flav's sitting there next year.
Yeah. I'm going to say, what up, Flav? Same thing. I don't have a relationship with them. So it was funny. And then also we always keep in mind, we're on a cruise. You're not going to see us anymore. Like these people are coming from everywhere. You're not going to see us again. But we built some great relationships with a couple of people that we will stay in touch with.
That can be really freeing when you
is.
know you're in an environment with a bunch of people that the chance of seeing them again is just minuscule.
Absolutely. And so I have video footage of how freeing that can be of some people.
Yeah, isn't Virgin sort of a party ship?
It is.
Okay.
For adults, they go hard. You think about when the kids are away, the adults want to play, right? And so people really let their hair down. That's not really our scene. Like my wife and I were sitting down puzzling. No lie, we were sitting down doing puzzles. And so we did so many puzzles because that's her thing. And I just want to spend time with her and love her and be in her presence. I just sat down and puzzled with her. I'd rather be in the arcade playing Miss Pac-Man or Mario Brothers or Mortal Kombat or something. But she wanted to puzzle, so I sat down and I puzzled. When we looked up, they said, well, you have so many people coming here to puzzle now that y'all are puzzling. We're going to build some activities around puzzling.
Oh,
So
wow.
there were puzzling contests and everything. It was cool. It was cool.
You brought your own puzzles?
Nah, they had them.
They just have them.
They
okay.
had like a game room with 30 arcade games, like, I don't know, 100 puzzles, games, Sudoku puzzles, like Tic-Tac, Connect Four, Jenga, like you name it, they had it. And apart from any other cruise that I've ever been on, when you pay at the beginning, it covers everything.
That's nice.
Other than alcohol and I don't drink like that. So, but it covered everything. So every restaurant we went into, it was when you finish eating, just get up and walk out. That was awkward.
And you can eat any time of day too. It's like,
Anytime, all
it's 10
day.
o'clock. I want.
You can sit down and
Ice
order
cream?
6 entrees and they will bring you 6 entrees.
That's dangerous.
Do you want us to stagger them or do you want them all at the same time? I've never had this option before. my wife will order every dessert. Like it was fun stuff.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I wasn't sure what type of, knowing how philanthropic you are. And I thought, oh, is he on? I'm glad you treated yourself, by the
Yeah,
way. But
I
I thought,
believe
oh,
in
I could
that.
also see you being like, oh, I went on this missions trip or something like that. So
Yes.
either way, it's a good story to tell.
Yes.
Flava Flav or whatever happens next.
That's good. So we do a lot of mission work. But I think, one of the things I was looking up and doing some research on, according to what I believe, there's a statement that says, you love your neighbor as you love yourself. The real question is, do people really love themselves? And because of that, we were talking about self-help, and Carlos, you were saying how when you, instead of working out, you just did a walk because you was paying attention to your body. That's a part of loving yourself, is paying attention to what your body is telling you, right? And so before I do any workouts, I do a warm-up set with very lightweight to see if my body is saying, go hard, or please don't do anything. So sometimes you do that warm-up set with a 5-pound weight, you may turn around and say, oh, no, I'm not feeling this today. I'm going to just stretch. Or I'm going to stick with this 5-pound dumbbell when I normally lift 50s or 6. And it's okay because there's no ego here. I'm paying attention to what my body is saying. But I don't think we have enough people that are really listening to their bodies. And we have this idea where we're going to push through and just push. And that's a culture. That's the culture. That's in people's lives. That's in our work environment. We push. And a lot of times we need to because we have to. Think about our systems, right? And so we have to push through. And so I just want to pause really quick and just say kudos to our team for working on systems and building out software and making sure that our school functions appropriately. I take my hat off to you, respect you. I don't talk a lot about my trip because I know we have some people on our team that are just, they're in grind mode right now. And that's the sacrifice, right, that they're making or they choose to make for the team right now. And there's going to be a point where we all sacrifice differently for the betterment of the team. But I just love that we have team members that are committed to the cause and that are putting in the work. So thank you. Thank you for your hard work and your dedication.
A lot of really nice thoughts. And I think we could talk a lot about, self-care and the importance of that, because when you're happy and when you're taking care of yourself, that's when you can give the most to your team,
you
right?
Speaking my love language. Yes.
I mean, it's just so essential.
Mm-hmm. There's a children's book, I believe it's called Fill Your Bucket. It's a simple children's book, but it teaches children to make sure they replenish themselves so they have something to give to others. Great lesson for adults. Like make sure your bucket is filled so that you can pour into other people.
And thankfully, we live in a culture where this idea and this culture is uplifted.
Yes.
And I almost feel like routinely, why didn't somebody tell me that when I was, it's like this unlocking this next level of being.
Absolutely.
But not until you're older. I'm too old to figure, why didn't somebody tell me this when I was younger?
When I was a teenager, yes.
You're young enough to take it all on.
But imagine if you had this information when you were a teenager. Yeah. We probably wouldn't have been able to digest it and make use of it at that time because we have so many other things happening. But even say 20.
Yeah. No, so
right?
Robert Kiyosaki says in his book, I believe it is the Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he talks about their quarters in life, and he says from 25 to 35 is your first quarter, and 35 to 45, second quarter, fourth and fifth quarter, or third and fourth quarter, forgive me for miscounting. And so I think when you get to that first quarter, that's when you really start processing. I mean, if you think about research, your brain is not fully developed until you're 25, 26, around that period. And that's where he says the first quarter really starts. And so my son right now runs track, and he's amazing, great athlete. And he's committed. And we told him to take the month of July off, don't do anything. And he almost lost his mind. What do you mean? How am I going to be great if I don't? And I said, son, you're going to wear your body out.
Yeah.
You have to give your body. You have to give your body an opportunity to breathe. And you have to step away from it because it's what you do. It's not who you are. If this was a movie, in the Black culture, there's a movie called Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking juice in the hood, right? There's a part in there where they have these hidden messages or gems that you can pick up, and it changes your life. And at that point, it says, message. So people know, you need to go back and listen to that again. But I think that was a point where I would just say, message, really take time to give your body a chance to recoup, because this is not who you are. It is what you do. That's it. And the same thing with our work here at Penn College. I love Penn College. I'm committed to Penn College, but it's what I do. It's not who I am. My identity is not in my work. It comes from somewhere else.
Yeah, you and I were having a conversation in passing about that. And it just gave me pause to think about it, because there is so much of, every moment I will be thinking about how to solve some of the challenges that are happening. It will take me sometimes a 10-hour hike to finally get out of that.
Yeah.
Just to work myself to exhaustion.
Yeah,
just to
absolutely
get to it. And so that was really important to me. And I thank you for that moment.
I appreciate it. I think all of us, and it's easier for others, right? So for President Reed, it looks completely different. He thinks about this as a part of the senior executive team. I think about this, but I have to make sure I take a moment to disengage so that when I do re-engage, I'm at my best. And we need that. And it's going to look different for everyone. So I'm not saying follow Nate's blueprint. Nah, it's going to look different for everyone. And we all need to make sure we're investing in ourselves. Truthfully, that's how we invest into our jobs, the institution, the students, and to the mission. We have to sharpen our saw. If everyone has an axe and you just keep swinging for the next 10 years, you're going to kill yourself, break your back, your arms, you're going to be strong. You're going to look amazing. You're going to feel
on the
worst.
Outside,
there you go.
Right?
But if you never take time to sharpen the saw, you're actually putting in more effort than you think. And you will never know until the end.
So I think the college is investing in the Calm app, or I'm not sure.
Yes, that's a nice plug.
But I feel like you could replace it altogether. I think we could just get emails from you, voicemails better.
Yeah, I hear
because
you.
I just feel like these are so essential, not just to people here at Penn College, but to everyone.
Yeah, it is, and I hope that ties into the work that I was hired to do, right? And so how do we create a culture where people feel they're at their best and they can be their best in this workspace? So really creating a welcoming environment. And that comes with having these types of conversations and saying, look, we're not trying to overdo it. Now, don't start taking a vacation, every other month. That's not realistic. But are you taking a vacation? You should not have 350 days saved up in vacation days, and then you're miserable because you haven't taken any time off so that you can replenish yourself. Take the time off. It's not going to fall apart if you're not here for a week. And if it does, then we have bigger problems.
Summer's booting me out of here right now. Just like, start your vacation now.
There's never a good time, honestly. If you look at a calendar, there's never a good time.
You just look at it and you figure out what's the least that can be effective when I'm gone. The least amount of things can be effective when I'm gone. But it also comes to trust. One of my mentors told me this. He said, Nate, if you can leave work and your team can handle it, that means you trust your team. If you can't leave work because you're afraid something is not going to be done right or things are not going to go the way that they should, then that means it's all on you as a leader. Either you don't trust your team to do the job, meaning they're incompetent, and that goes back to you, meaning you haven't trained them. Or that means they just don't know, and there again, it goes back onto you, and you need to train them. And it changed everything about my life. Everything. So I figure if we get in and we start training and I spent more time with my team and we developed a team and I could take a day off, and it was like, oh, I only had 10 phone calls that day. Then the next time I only had 2 phone calls. And then one day it's like, I'm calling them. Are y'all okay?
Yeah, they don't need me anymore.
Okay? They were able to function, not at 100%, more like 75, but they were able to do it. And I was like, okay, this is what it looks like to delegate and to empower other people to step in when I'm not. So it was cool.
One of the things I do, and yes, I need to take more time off. I totally trust my team. Have an awesome team.
This is Carlos.
I have the best team.
He's in a session right now.
But it's to unplug. It's to take that device and shut it off.
Yes.
Put it away. I got 3 days coming up. I think I'm going to make it 4 days.
Look at you.
I'm just it'll be there. It'll be in the car. That way, if anyone needs to know where I am, or at least where my car is, they'll have that. I got a tracker for other purposes.
Absolutely.
In case I end up falling to the bottom of the lake.
Okay.
Then I'll still be able to be found.
We do need to know where you're going to be.
But no, I think it's important to have that mindset. to set yourself up with the systems. And you started off talking about systems,
Yes.
but also to have your own systems so that I think there's a trust in yourself you have to have
True.
as well. I mean, trust and love my team. Am I giving myself that
Yes.
same trust and love?
Ooh, give me some. Ooh. So it's not only trusting the team, but do I trust myself? I don't know. I think we may need to do part 3, 4, 5, and 6. 3, 4,
I think this
5,
is
and
our
6.
sampler. You were talking about samplers. We're just going to
Yes.
tap into all these subject areas and then we can come back and explore them
Yes.
fully.
Go deeper, yeah.
Yeah.
And while we're on it, please let us know which of these pieces you really want us to explore more. Hit us up at podcast@pct.edu.
Ooh, let us know.
Definitely.
Love that. That's a nice plug, too.
You know, we need to do more of that.
I don't think we've ever done that actually.
Not that particular one.
I have said, somebody email me, let me know that the email address is working. And I did get some emails. So I think they felt bad for us.
Please email me.
Yeah. We knew it
love
worked, by the way, but I was just thinking,
That's a
you know,
great
you know,
statement.
people are hearing you, and it's
Yeah.
really cool because we do. I'm sure Carlos gets these comments too, but I sometimes talk to people and they're like, "Oh my gosh, it's like I'm on the podcast. I listen to your
Ooh.
voice, and now I'm talking to you, and it's like."
Wow.
Sorry, it's freaking me out, is what people say. I'm like, well, I don't want to freak
That's
you out, but
heavy.
that's cool.
Yeah, that is.
You put these messages out into the world, and you don't always know who's hearing you.
Our mutual friend Kyle,
Yeah.
he let us know. He's like, we need to know more about
The
Summer
two of
and
you.
Carlos.
Absolutely.
And it struck me this morning, and this isn't the podcast to do it, but maybe it's the part 3 or the part 4 or the part 5 with you,
Yes.
because we're going to have you back. And
Well, I'm nervous to be interviewed by Nate. Is that what you're
no,
suggesting?
actually, we want to interview you.
Let's
Yes.
have Nate interview us.
We're going to get all kinds of information about our siblings and all kinds of stuff we don't want out there in the world.
I won't put it out there.
Actually, I was really excited to hear about that. I wanted to save sibling rivalry for later, but let's get into it because
Okay.
I think you brought it here. This is a podcast that you don't have released yet. You're
No,
working
we
on
haven't.
it
Correct.
with your sister.
Correct.
I think it would be amazing to have me and my 2 brothers on there because the dynamic
I will
between
do
the
it.
3 of us is wild, and we're all successful in our own
Yeah.
ways. But
Actually,
anyway,
that would be a great interview. Yeah.
it'd be fun.
I would love to do that. I will set that up with you.
All right.
So the podcast is called Siblings Talk, and it's with my sister. Her alias is Miss Good News, and she just works at She works at a radio station at a college, and interviews so many people. It's ridiculous, and she does so much philanthropic work in the community. Very engaged. She started off volunteering her time. So working a different job and then coming to volunteer to work at the radio station. And they said, we can't function without you. We need you. And so they hired her. So,
I like that approach.
now she's the assistant director for communications at the radio station. And she hosts some amazing shows, very encouraging, uplifting. And so from that, we were just talking, and we don't talk about politics and we don't talk about religion at our institution, and for good cause we don't. And so I'm a person of faith. I'll leave it at that. And one of the groups that I work with, my sister is a part of it. We have celebrities and actresses and professional athletes that come into this group that I meet with every Tuesday. I've been meeting with this group, and it's been expanding for almost 5 years. And she said, all of these people are in your group that you know, so many influential people. We should interview them, like all of them. And so they come to this space, and it's safe and it's sacred, and no one is puffed up. It's like, no, we're here together and we're going to talk and build. And so after, 2 years, literally 2 years, I said, let's do this. Let's do this. And so we're going to just jump in it and see how it goes. I'm not afraid to fail forward. And so it's one of the best things in the world. There's a gentleman named Dr. Miles Monroe who died. Dr. Miles Monroe, he died in a plane crash. But he wrote in one of his, 100 books, one of the things he said that was profound, it stood out to me, and I wrote about it in my first book. He said, the wealthiest place in the world is not the oil fields in Iran and Iraq, not the diamond mountains and the on the continent of Africa. He said the wealthiest place on this planet is the graveyard, because there lies untapped potential, untapped desires or dreams and businesses that never came to fruition. All of this wealth is in the grave for people who did not live out what they were intended to live out. For whatever reason, for fear, didn't have the resources, whatever, these ideas are just in the grave, just laying there. The wealthiest place on the planet moved me. And so I want to make sure when I die, and I will, when I die, that everything's out. I've squeezed the life out of myself. Seriously, everything is out, and that people can live and say, man, Nate did as much as he possibly could to love people, to encourage people, to build his family, run businesses, do this. He did it all. He lived. And that's what I want to be remembered as.
And you've already lived 10 times more than most people.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I put in some work. I put in some work. But that's where Sibling Talk comes from, is that idea of just let's live, let's do something. And it became more abundantly clear to me when I came and was hired here at Penn College. I went through, they should have never put me through that innovation series. You should have never put me through that series. I learned so much. And one of the things I learned from the innovation series is we tend to start things and we want to keep it forever. But in the innovation process is sometimes you start something and you trial it or you pilot it or you just do it for a year or so and then you stop. And it's okay. That doesn't mean it's a failure. You just stop. And then you go back and reassess and maybe we need to do something different. And so things maybe are done for different seasons. No, people don't sow seed all year long because there's a time for the ground to replenish itself or heal itself, right? And so I just take the same approach in business.
You mentioned innovation series. Do we want to say what that is, just in case if people aren't aware of it? So it's a certificate program.
It is.
Okay. And they allow any staff, faculty to take it, of course, but also our students have access to this. So
Correct.
It can be added to associate degrees, bachelor's degrees.
Correct.
And just, it's a really cool idea if you think about that. Somebody coming from maybe that technical skill set, adding this innovation mindset to it, I think you can all imagine how those two could connect and what advantage that may bring to someone, post-graduation or even while they're here, accessing our labs and having, the opportunity to explore those skills, create products. And it's not all about a tangible product, right? Nope. It's about solutions. It's about unlocking this thinking.
There you go.
And having a process for it. Right? So it's just...
I'm adding sound effects. Go ahead.
Yeah. It's such a really unique opportunity.
It is.
And is it, do we have the option remote or in person, or is it all in person?
So we have, I'm not sure what the student version looks like, but we meet with our instructor. So Chip is amazing. But we meet with the instructor, once every week or every 2 weeks for a semester. Amazing program. You can earn your blue belt or your black belt. And I earned my blue belt. I am excited to go push forward to get my black belt, but it teaches a system. There's a system for innovation. And sometimes you hear people say, well, I need you to be innovative and give me a solution. Like, excuse me?
Hurry up and be creative.
So there's a system to being innovative. And sometimes I think we're just in a rush and we're just in a daily grind and we say, we need people to come up with ideas, but we're not creating a space or for the system to be put in so that it can generate or give us an output of innovative thoughts. Dr. Reed said to me, he said, Nate, if you put a good person in a bad system, the system will win every time. Changed my life. First time I ever heard that in my life. And it changed my life. And I said, the work is systems. It's system work more than anything. And that doesn't mean anyone's bad. And what it does is it takes people out of the work. And now we're looking at systems. We're tackling systems. We're attacking systems. We're tweaking and adjusting systems, not people. But when the people build the systems, we put our heart, blood, sweat, and tears in it. And so this is my baby. No, it's not. It's a system. We're going to make some adjustments. And we tend to sometimes get offended because a system we built or developed gets adjusted. Yeah, I was just relocated. It can be hard, right? Like,
and systems have to change.
They have to.
The environment's changing around it.
The people are changing. And because the people are changing, a system that was once established served and it met all the needs of the people. But as the people changed and evolved, that same system 5, 10, 20 years later could be a barrier for people coming in now. And so we want to adjust. I'm telling you what I do. This is what my job is, to go in and ask questions, build relationships, and then let's look at the system. What are some of the barriers that are in the way that are preventing people from coming in and having a welcoming environment, this being a welcoming environment so that they can be at their best? And I just covered 6 questions.
I told you we weren't even going to look at the questions.
We just started talking. I love it every time.
I am glad that you brought up your role at the college because so you're the first person who's ever filled this role, right?
Yes.
Yes. So we're in year 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm curious, what does it look like now that you're here, you're moving, you're shaking things up compared to how you thought it was going to look 2 years ago?
I'm going to be completely transparent. Imposter syndrome is real. And so initially when I started, excited, full of energy, let's go in and let's do this. And all the while feeling insecure, feeling out of place, not sure. And so I had to wrestle with my own internal feelings of, do I belong here? Is this right? Oh, I have great vision. I can see this thing could change. I have, vision for days, but still the real work is internal. And what I'm realizing more than anything is if I can help my colleagues and our students to do more of the internal work, this what we're talking about and creating spaces and tomorrow makers, that becomes a lot easier and people are less likely to be offended and hurt because we're more empathetic to the fact that somebody may be insecure or someone, may have gone through a traumatic experience and they're trying to come to work and just go super hard at work. And this idea of pushing through, I'm going to push through and just do my work. And I'm not going to bring all of this stuff with me. Well, that's a lie. You always bring it with you. But no one's teaching us how to set this to the side or compartmentalize, or is that even safe to do? Should I do that? Or should I just take a mental health day? Or this project is pressing. I need to be present. I need to show up. So how do I show up and talk to the person that's next in command and say, look, I need you on your A game because I'm on my B game today. However you would say that, and just have those real conversations. And I think we're starting to have more and more of those conversations by doing QPR training,
Tell us what QPR is. Anytime we throw one of our acronyms out, I feel like we need to explain.
I apologize.
That's okay.
So QPR is a question, persuade, refer, and it is a suicide prevention awareness training program for mental health. And so it's just informing or training our staff and colleagues and even students on how to look for different signs and symptoms of someone who may have suicidal ideation or may talk and say, I don't think I should be here anymore. Or I don't think it would be cool if I was around. No one would miss me. Well, what do you do with that? So you go in and you ask questions. And then after you ask questions, and the real question that you would ask is, are you thinking about doing suicide or attempting suicide? Are you thinking about harming yourself? And if they say yes, then you know what to do next. Persuade them not to make that move and then refer them to the appropriate people that can help them. Because we're not a therapist. We're We're just here being therapeutic.
Big distinction.
Very big distinction, right? And we're just guiding people to the real people that can help them. And so I've learned over these 2 years that a lot of the barriers that people are facing are internal, because I faced them within myself, right? And so I believe I'm at my best now because I've been able to address those, spend quality time talking to professionals and getting mentored and, those types of things. And so what I've seen in these 2 years on our campus is that people love students. If we're not here for our students, I will put everything that I own on the table, on the line, to say that we're here for our students. And you can't ask a person on this campus that will say anything different than that. We're here for our students. Now, how we execute being here for our students looks different, and that's okay. And so we have the cupboard, which has been expanded. We have the Inclusion Academy, which has been remarkably used. It's been used so well, and the conversations and the LinkedIn connections have been amazing with the LinkedIn learnings through the Inclusion Academy has been awesome. So much so that other departments are starting to use LinkedIn Learning for professional development within their departments now. And so I think that that's huge. And that's a great way to introduce some products that we have on our campus that maybe some people didn't know anything about. The Lunch and Learns are my favorite. And I'm saying things that require professional development because I think we need more of the professional development as we have people being promoted into leadership positions, making sure we have leadership, professional development training, customer service training is a big deal. But I also believe, and this is something President Reed talked to me about quite a bit, is having these professional developments because they not only provide information for us to grow, but also an opportunity for colleagues from different areas and departments to come together, to work together and talk together and commingle and build relationships and break down silos, because now there's dialogue around how different departments work, and we can cross-pollinate and take behaviors that work best or best practices. We can share the secret sauce.
You mentioned a few things in there that those that aren't part of Penn College community, and even some that are in the community, may not be familiar with. So the cupboard,
yes.
What's that?
So the cupboard is, let me back up and say it this way. We understand that there are food insecurities across our community. We know that roughly 60% or a little bit more or less of our students commute. And because of that, they may have food insecurities or may not have access to food regularly. And because of that, to mitigate that, we provide cupboards all over our campus where they can go and get food free of charge, and they can grab what they need, and we replenish the cupboard. And we're just grateful for the donors, those that give and that support the cupboard. If you want to figure out a way that you can support, please get connected with our college relations team. They can help you, or our foundation. They can help you get connected with the cupboard so you can give toward the cupboard. Not only food, but also like hygiene products. Those are very necessary within the community as well, based on some survey data that just came out. And so that's a big deal as well.
And it's more than just like boxes of macaroni.
Yeah,
there's actually like milk and eggs.
Yeah, there's a refrigeration unit in our main location. And so there are cold products, there are vegetables, so if you want to give, you don't have to just give cans. You can come bring frozen corn, frozen peas, frozen green beans, milk or whatever. They need they need items, and they're going to always need items because food insecurities doesn't seem to be going away. Not just on our campus. This is all campuses in our community at large.
And I think there's the opportunity to actually, you can donate money so that one of the facilities here at the college that stocks these items, they can get the items they need. Them.
Absolutely.
So we'll provide the links in the show notes for that.
Yeah. So please. Oh, let me just throw this out there. Don't bring items and put them in the cupboard. Follow protocol. Let's give them to the appropriate people so the items can be vetted, and then they will stock the cupboards.
Last thing we need is that 30-day out-of-date yogurt.
Yeah, do not stock the.
People are trying to be helpful.
We appreciate
but there are systems, to make sure that everything runs smoothly.
Absolutely. I had to throw that out there.
The Lunch and Learns, I've been to several, if not most.
Appreciate you.
It's so amazing.
Appreciate
Great opportunity because it brings the community in for so many of these.
Correct.
Love to see more of the Penn College community there and more of the Williamsport community.
Absolutely. I think that we have an opportunity to continue education. I believe education is vitally important. And I see that we have celebrations that we're not educated anymore. I want to do a Lunch and Learn for July 4th. I'm not sure. Maybe we should do a poll. I'm not sure if people remember what July 4th is. I mean, people will tell you what the holiday is.
It's not just lights in the sky.
Nah, it's not a cookout. Yeah, picnic and some burgers and hot dogs. It's more to it, right? Why are we celebrating that? Why is that important to our history? And sometimes I don't think people really remember. And so I want to just educate or re-educate people on the history so that we can say, oh, this is why we do this. But I want to do that across the board for most of our holidays.
There's some intentionality that I think we've lost among all of those celebrations.
Yeah, we just take a day off and go about our business and don't remember the significance of the day. And if we do that for another 10, 20, 30 years, who's to say that next generation is going to know what the holiday actually means if we don't go back and teach it? And so I would just like to inform and educate. And that's what my whole purpose for the Lunch and Learns is about getting people together. Let's educate on one small topic. We're not going to be able to go in depth. We don't have the time for it, but let's create a pause for the cause. Let's create a pause so that people can say, oh, this is what this means. This is why it's important to this particular people group. It's not important to me. I didn't know of it, but this particular people group, this is important to. And I have people in my community that are part of that demographic. And if they think that that's valuable, maybe I should learn a little bit something so I can better speak to the people in my community. That's how I see it.
So are you writing a book?
Who told you that?
I just assumed. Well, you did. You were working on one when we met last time, I think. And I feel like maybe that one's out or it's still in the works.
Yeah, still in the works. Yeah.
How's that going?
It is work. My goodness. It's hard. It's hard writing a book. I'm not an author. Yes, I am. I am, but it's difficult writing a book when my mind moves. And so I can be in the middle of, I have to learn to sit in the thought and let it grow into something. I don't do that too often when it comes to writing. And so that's difficult. And I don't believe I'm a strong writer. And so I'm going to lean heavily on you.
Is there something in my inbox I missed? I hope I'm not holding anything up.
Nah, not at all. But once I get to that point, and so this is I'm being candid here. I started writing a book, and I'll even give you the title of the book. It's not coming out until I finish it, whenever that is. But the title of the book is
Still Being Workshopped, based on the Eyes to the Ceiling.
I'm contemplating, should I even give it? I'm going to go ahead and just throw it out there. The title of the book is, If We Take a Trauma-Informed Approach, Do We Need DEI, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion? It's going to be controversial. That's the purpose of it. But what I do is I present both frameworks and then let the reader decide which framework they lean more to. That's it.
And so who's the audience for this book?
Educators.
Okay.
Anyone that's in government, policy writers, because it's influencing everything right now. There are 28 states right now in our country that either have executed legislation or have legislation that's about to cancel out DEI work across their state. And so with that being said, this is something that's on the forefront of everything. And anyone in a position like I'm in that does this type of work around inclusion, their jobs are at jeopardy. That doesn't mean that institutions can't hire you. And I'm not saying that by any means. But what I am saying is we need to continue to move forward. And maybe the approach should shift. You remember I was talking about systems. Some things can go and then we need to stop and then maybe do something different. And maybe we need to go back and reassess, are we going about this the right way? And maybe take a trauma-informed approach, which framework is bigger, it's extensive, it includes more people. And then we can wrap the whole DEI piece in there and still serve the same purpose and move forward with healing and helping people to understand that we're just human. And although our pigmentation is different, although our social structure or our social constructs may be a little bit different, or we come from different backgrounds and economics or whatnot, at the end of the day, we're people. And we're trying to put our students in the most competitive position for long-term success. And we need to identify what are the things that are stopping them from doing it so we can push them forward. That's it. So I think the book will really help provide what the frameworks should be, because what we're doing here is working. So much so that and other institutions are reaching out because they see that what we're doing is working. But in the middle of writing this book, I had an epiphany. I told you I was struggling internally, right? And what I was feeling internally, I started seeing in people around me, not just here on the campus, but in the communities, other institutions. And Dr. Reed and I meet regularly, and we were talking. And as he's a mentor to me, he was just sharing things and saying, Nate, this is where you are, and helping me to better understand. And I said, oh, there's a new book. That's an idea. So I created a trauma-informed competence model to help people navigate being put in new positions, new roles, students coming into school. What does that look like? What's that ebb and flow look like? And how do you best support people in it? And so I've been able to, through my experiences and some research that we've added to this model, I can tell you exactly where you are based on conversations with you, where you are in this model, and can give you tools to help you get to the next phase so you can continue to move forward. So that's going to probably be the one that comes out first. That book is powerful. I did a presentation on it yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Where was this?
For our adjunct faculty day training.
On a Sunday.
Oh, man.
I mean, sorry, forgive me, not yesterday, but
Friday.
Oh,
I did it Friday.
Okay. Was that recorded?
Nope.
I wanted to attend just for that session, but I ended up with a conflict.
Yeah, it was really good. I've only presented it twice. So, and by presenting it, it helps me to wrap my mind around it as well. And so when I sit down and write, it's like, oh, I get this idea, this works, this. And so I think that will be powerful. And it's going to be a quick read. It's not going to be extensive by any means. So,
what was the reception like? What feedback did you get? Because this is a wild, like some of this stuff, these feel like wild ideas to some people. If you're just, I almost feel like I said earlier about unlocking different layers. It's like you can't sometimes get to here if you don't understand what's happening here, like getting out of yourself to even realize, okay, I'm at a place where I can explore these topics.
Correct.
You need to first realize I'm in charge of my thoughts.
Bingo.
It's like, that's such a huge thing. Sometimes when I feel anxious, I'm like, you're doing this to yourself. Chill out. Like you're in charge here. Yep. No one else is in charge of you.
You're all in there yourself.
Yeah, you're doing this. So if you're doing this, you can also do something better. You can fix it.
Absolutely. You're knocking it out of the park. So that's exactly what this work is about, is helping people to say, hey, pause. Let's look. Your environment influences you. But after your environment influences you, you still do all the processing internally. So how do we help you to process differently? And how do we put the supports around you to help you process? Because some people don't know how to process, or due to life, that part of their brain is not as strongly developed as it is for others. And so I want to provide tools to help people so they can have a better life and they can do better work. And this book that one's amazing. It's life-changing. And so the response, all unsolicited. Nate, I should have had you in my classroom before I retired. Yeah, that's what someone said, that like, I missed an opportunity. I should have had you in my classroom before I retired. Others, we really need this. this would be an amazing presentation for individuals that are transitioning from being incarcerated to coming into as a civilian again. So that, because that mindset it could prohibit them from being at their best if they feel like, man, I don't have nothing to offer. I don't have any. No, you actually do. You do. Even coming from that situation, you have a lot to offer the world. And so we want to make sure we give you an opportunity to do it. So the feedback was amazing. I'll leave it at that.
So how can someone who's listening get this book, or what's the time frame? Because I'm excited. I'm just curious.
My goal is in the next 2 to 3 months have it done.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so that means maybe I don't work out at 5:30, but I change my investment hour. And so I believe in an investment hour at the beginning of my day. And my investment hour is either working out or writing. And so I may have to add another hour, get up at 4:30. Nah, seriously, I won't do that. But just making adjustments to my life so that I'm not killing myself doing the projects, but still investing in my future in that way. I think there's opportunity. Someone said, Nate, what the things you do, will that pull you away from Penn College? I said, actually, it brings more light to Penn College. And I think we have so many talented people on our campus that need to be highlighted. And that's why I'm so grateful for what you do, PRM, right? Public Relations Marketing Team. You see how I handled that one? Handled that acronym. I'm grateful because you highlight so many great talent that we have on our campus. I believe Dr. Reese says it like this: we're a talent dense campus, right? I fall out laughing every time he says it, but we're a talent dense campus. And so people need to know the talent that's on our campus, so then it continues to shine light. So people know about Penn College and what we offer and how our students are coming out, and that graduation rate, and that was the 97%.
That placement
rate.
That
placement rate. Forgive me for not saying that right, but the placement rate, and understanding that our students are coming out top of the line, being promoted faster, knowing the work as soon as they step into the office or when they step into their place of work, they know their work because of this hands-on approach, because we have so many talented faculty members. We have so many talented staff members that are supporting our faculty and supporting our students. And so we need everybody. And I just think you do a great job of highlighting that. So thank you for your great work.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
I say a lot of thank yous because I think we don't say it enough.
Oh, I think that's so valuable. I like the community aspect too. And I'm thinking the more influence you have on, and all of us have on our students, and then they're all going out, this 97.7% placement rate, then they're influencing.
Absolutely.
And so the book should come out sooner because the influence is just far greater. There's more density, right?
I love that. I love it.
Oh, I would be thinking you have this valuable information the sooner it comes out, you know.
It is good. Yeah. It's good.
But you want it to be.
I want it to be right.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
I think that's dangerous too. Sometimes put the work out. Just put the work out. We talk about it doesn't have to be a Mona Lisa. Well, Mona Lisa was not a perfect picture.
No.
It's the flaws that made it great.
I don't want it in my house. I mean, it's just not even. I think we can say that now. There's no one offends.
No doubt.
No one's offended by that.
But no, sometimes we shoot for perfection, but I think the journey, and I had to tell a couple of our students that the journey is where the real work happens. And sometimes we make the end goal everything when it should be celebrated, but it's not everything. It's the journey. It's everything. Anybody can get a degree, but never take a class. Honorary degrees are passed out all the time. No disrespect to anyone that has an honorary degree. But what I'm saying is there's something about going through the journey, taking the classes, the hardship, the staying up late to study, the cramming classes, or I have to get in my labs and put in 25 hours and 30 hours and 60, all of it. That's the journey. Talking to colleagues and saying, or friends or other students that are going through similar situations and working through that and learning myself as I'm learning this information. That's everything. A degree can't give you that. The degree just says you went through that and you did it well. Does it make sense? And so the degree is important, but the journey carries so much weight. So much weight. And I don't want us to lose sight of the journey. And that's what makes this institution like remarkable. It provides a great journey for people.
I feel like that when we speak about journeys, it's not just about our students. It's about anybody, anywhere.
Yep.
Right. So I think you gave us so many powerful things to consider today. Just more questions than answers.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Because we need that book to get answers.
I will say this. We need more conversations like this with more people. And if we do that more often, we'll realize that all of us are feeling the same anxieties, have the same fears, same trepidation, and it's fine. Now that I know that you feel the same fear I'm feeling, you have same insecurities I have, okay, let's link up and let's do this together then. Now it's not me. I'm not in this by myself, and I don't feel this way alone. We're in this together. Let's go win. We're already winning. Let's just keep winning.
This next thing is going to scare Summer.
Go ahead.
Here it is.
I'm thinking this conversation, and maybe I think it's the next one. We do this on the stage.
Oh, I love it.
We do this with the live audience.
Okay, so time out. So do you realize that people are taking their podcasts on tour?
Yeah, Smartless.
We are not Smartless.
No, we're tomorrow makers. No, people are taking their podcasts on tour. It's the wildest thing, but really doing it. And lives are being changed. It is the coolest thing.
Yeah, some of my podcasts I listen to, I would definitely go see live.
I would too.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite podcasts? I have to put it out there.
Okay, yeah. So
Early Interview.
I really am a big fan of Peter Attia.
Okay.
So longevity expert.
Yes,
I love
yes.
Peter
That's
Attia.
funny. That was the first one that came to my mind too.
Oh,
right
really?
now. Yeah.
Nice. Look
And
at us.
I'm a trail runner, so I enjoy Free Trail,
Okay.
Dylan Bowman. And I think because he was a taste that was acquired,
Okay.
I first heard him speaking and I thought, who is this guy with a journalism degree that thinks he can interview people? But you do find yourself latching onto some of the things and the questions and the pauses. So I'm a fan of that one. And then I do like Armchair Expert.
Okay.
I feel like Dax Shepard. I think he brings in
You really are a podcaster.
yeah, unique perspective because he wasn't. I just think about his history. You know, he didn't grow up with everything,
Correct.
and so he had to do a little fighting. He's a little gritty.
He has to be
but
gritty. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
But he also flexes. So in this situation, he's talking to this person. So he kind of meets them where they are.
That's good.
He also does a ton of research with his guests. So
love
I
it.
think he comes in, he's read the books. He's looked up, he's watched the movies.
Yeah.
So
That's
there's
awesome.
a couple highlights.
I'll have to listen to him. He and Peter Attia just did an episode together.
Oh, I bet they did.
Yes, they did.
So yeah, they're both fanatical about, is it the car one?
Yeah, Formula One.
Okay. Yeah.
Formula
You
One.
cannot like Formula One, but if you like those two guys, it's very interesting.
Yeah, it was really interesting.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorites? If you want to share, you don't have
So
to.
yeah, Freakonomics and Tim Ferriss were the two I first got into,
Freakonomics.
and I still listen to them to this
Okay.
day. Big Questions with Cal Fussman.
Nice.
I really like.
Nice.
He's a great interviewer. His voice is just
It's perfect.
It's not a radio voice, but you're like
It's perfect.
like,
Yeah.
it's unique to him. You hear his voice, you know it. Yeah, so those are ones I'm listening to
Okay.
right now regularly.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I tend to bigger pockets. And so I buy real estate. And so Bigger Pockets is a podcast I listen to because I'm always looking at how can we continue to expand and serve our community through the housing market. And so that's a big one for me. There is a couple called the Perrys, Jackie Hill Perry and Preston Perry. It's more faith-based, but very strong. This young couple, they both met, they were poets. Poets, and they met on a tour doing poetry, ended up getting married, and she released an album. Like crazy, released the album. He continued to tour doing poetry, but they just came together. And during COVID, they would do like conversations with the Perrys. That was it. Just on their living room couch, mic'd up, conversations with the Perrys, and it blew up. And they completed a tour. I think they did 25 cities, sold out every one. Sold out every single one. I said, this is crazy. And so I had an opportunity to talk to some people that know the Perrys. And they said, Nate, you have something to share. Just share it. And so I would encourage anyone listening, if you have something to share, just share it. Just share it. If it's meaningful, you know that will help someone, and you know your audience, gear it toward your audience and put it out there.
And it doesn't take a big audience.
It does not. It does not.
What does it say? They say you need 1,000 true fans, 10,000 true fans? I think it's 1,000
It's 1,000 true fans.
Yeah, 10,000 is a lot. But yeah, 1,000. Yeah, we can deal with that magnitude.
Absolutely.
That's easy enough.
And just be you. Don't change for it. Just have conversations. But more than anything, if your students listening, we need your wisdom. We need your gifts, your talents, your skills. If you're faculty and staff, or soon to be faculty and staff, or anyone going into the workforce, you're so valued. We appreciate you. We thank you for your contributions to our community, to our institution. I just want to just have a gratitude piece real quick. I am so grateful. Our senior executive team is so grateful for all of our staff and employees, our faculty. You are what makes this college what it is. We cannot function without you. And so please don't stop. Please don't stop being you. Please don't stop bringing your energy, your wisdom, your expertise to the table, because we need it. We need it. And we just thank you so greatly. Thank you.
And it feels good to express that gratitude too.
Yes.
So I think the other lesson is go out there today and tell someone thank you.
Tell someone thank you.
Yeah.
It matters. It matters.
We all like to hear it too on the other side. So.
No doubt.
I was touched. One day I walked into my office, my audience.
He's always on a stage.
I am always on a stage. And on my keyboard, the tiniest of little tiny envelopes, and it had the whole, international airmail coloring on it. And it just said, thank you.
Yeah, I'll put that on your desk. Yeah.
That was touching.
Yeah. Dr. Reed and I put out 100 of those. We would see people, thank you. Grounds if you worked in GS, and Grounds would see you and just say, thank you. And we need to remember to continue to do that. Not overdo it, not overkill, but we just need to say thank you. Like, your work matters. And you're not beneath us. You're not beneath it. Your work is so important. And someone said to me, I'll say this and then I'll get out of here. Someone stopped me and said, I was working in dining services. I'm serving food. I have my hair in a net. And someone said, why are you here? This is beneath you. And I took great offense to it. And I said, don't ever say that. I'm not beneath you. I said, you don't realize that by you serving food, you're freeing up other people's minds so they don't have to do that, so that they can do what they're gifted and talented to do, because they can't do this like you do. And I said, you are putting our students in the most competitive position for long-term success. And their eyes were just lit up. And I said, you're valuable. Don't think less of yourself anymore. This is extremely important. As important as what the president does, that's your job, because we can't do your job. And they said, are you serious? I said, I'm so serious. Everyone plays their part. And if everyone plays their part right, we all win. Don't ever look down on yourself. Your work is important. We need it.
What a great note to end on.
Yes.
Thank you, Nate.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate you.
Thanks for hanging out with us today.
Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Check out our show notes for bookmarks to your favorite sections and links to resources that we mentioned in today's episode.
You can also find past episodes and see what's on deck for upcoming ones at pct.edu/podcast.
And of course, we are open to your thoughts, ideas, and suggestions, so send those over at podcast@pct.edu.
It's been real.
Catch you next time. I have
my
the
ears are
mom
great.
ears, so I can hear what's going on far away.
You be sleeping here something.
Yes.
I hear the cat moving.
Exactly. He is the special assistant. See, add this to the end of the blooper rolls. What I guess.